at the corner of Clark and Addison on the north side of Chicago as Cub fans head into the ballpark grabbing their 2011 Magnet schedules. Nice day here at the ballpark, cool and breezy. Game 2 of the regular season here on Comcast Sportsnet. It's the Chicago Cubs hosting the Pittsburgh Pirates. Hi again, everyone. Along with Bob Brenly, I'm Len Casper. A tough way to start the season yesterday as the Cubs dropped a 6-3 decision to the Pirates. But Bob, as a manager, said after the game there was a lot of positive to look at. And I think you have to start with the Cubs' number 2 hitter and shortstop.
You know, Len, I think we're going to be doing this a lot this season. Starlin Castro looks like he is poised to become a superstar in this game, starting with his first defensive play of the season, a tremendous spinning throw to get the out at first. This guy's just going to hit, Len. When he squares it up, he hits the ball hard. When he gets jammed, broken bat hits seem to fall in for him. And tremendous aggressive base running yesterday, scoring a couple of runs.
So he had 3 hits, scored twice, as Bob mentioned, and defensively seems to be getting better and better. And remember, Starlin Castro's only 21 years old. Well, the pitching matchup today is interesting. I think both Paul Maholm and Carlos Zambrano could have made a case for an opening day start. They will both start Game 2. In the case of Maholm, he's been excellent against the Cubs. Last year, Bob, he was great against the division, but bad outside the NL Central.
Yeah, you can see his record in his career against the Cubs, 7-2, even though his ERA is over 6.5. A change-up throwing left-handed pitcher is the kind of guy that's given the Cubs offense problems in the past.
And for Carlos Zambrano, this is his first start of the year, and it doesn't come on opening day for the first time since 2004.
I don't think Carlos is really too upset about that. I think at this stage of his career, he understands the pecking order in that starting rotation, and he's more than happy to take the ball for Game 2.
So Maholm for the Bucks, Zambrano for the Cubs. Good start yesterday. A lot of energy in the ballpark. Unfortunately, the Cubs could not hang on. We'll see if they can turn the table here today as they take on the Pirates in Game 2.
An Lexus dealer who invites you to test drive a Lexus today. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Illinois. 75 years of being right here in Illinois means no one's closer to your wellness. Experience wellness everywhere. Subway. Every day at Subway, choose from many delicious regular footlong subs for just $5. Subway. Eat fresh. Honda. Visit your local Honda dealer today or go to shophonda.com and find great values on a new Honda. AT&T Uverse. Find out more of what's possible at att.com. AT&T. Rethink possible. And by Southwest Airlines' new Rapid Rewards. Unlimited reward seats and no blackout dates.
Welcome to Wrigley Field. Game 2 of the 162-game 2011 season. Let's quickly get into Clint Hurdle's Pirates Southwest starting lineup. They won the game yesterday, so no changes 1 through 8. Walker with the game-winning grand slam. Andrew McCutchen added a 2-run homer later, and that supplied all the offense for the Pirates.
Take a look at the Cubs defensively in the ball game today. Behind Carlos Zambrano, it'll be Soriano Bird and Tyler Colvin in right field today. Ramirez and Castro once again on the left side of the infield. Jeff Baker in his tremendous numbers against Paul Maholm gets the start at second base. Carlos Pena over at first. Giovanni Soto doing the catching today, as I mentioned, for right-hander Carlos Zambrano.
Well, you look at his numbers, Bob, a 3.33 ERA last year. Now, that doesn't tell the whole story. It was an up-and-down year, to say the very least. But that was his lowest earned run average since 2005.
Well, if you believe the saying, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. Carlos had a good year last year because he finished strong. From August 9th to the end of the season, his ERA was under 1.5. He won 8 ball games in that stretch.
Gets Jose Tabata's attention on the first pitch, as he is working on an 8-game winning streak. There's a strike. It's 1-1. Z without the long undersleeves on this brisk Saturday afternoon. High, it's 2-1. Might be a little amped up. Everything kind of up here early on. Off the plate inside. 3 balls and a strike to Tabata, who had a hit, a walk, a stolen base, scored a run yesterday. And inside, ball 4. Z likes to work quickly, but Bob, I know there are times when I need to slow things down, and you can understand the extra energy here in his first start, but see if he can settle in. Bill Miller will call the balls and strikes. Phil Cuzzy at first. James Hoy at second. And the asterisk means Tom Hallion is the crew chief.
Now, one thing about Big Z, we touched on it earlier, the velocity's down from what we saw from Carlos early in his career when he was in the mid to upper 90s. And because of the lessened velocity, he has a lot more movement now. It's a little tougher for him to keep his pitches in the strike zone because of the increased movement he has because of the loss of velocity.
Neil Walker with his first career grand slam yesterday, and it was not only the first of his career, but in the long 125-year history of the Pittsburgh Pirates, it was only the second opening day grand slam. Roberto Clemente hit the other one back in 1962 at Forbes Field.
I'm sure that would please Neil Walker, a Pittsburgh native, to be mentioned in the same breath with the Hall of Famer Roberto Clemente.
So Z comes back and strikes out Walker after walking Tabata. Here comes McCutchen.
Boy, look at the movement on that sinker, just tremendous. That pitch starts in the middle of the plate, ends up off the plate, low and away. Well, if he starts that same pitch right at a left-handed batter and tails it across that inside corner, it would be reminiscent of Greg Maddux when he used to throw that off-the-body sinker to the lefties. That pitch right there that starts off the corner to right-handers and tails back into the strike zone.
Andrew McCutchen has gotten on base in 17 consecutive games against the Cubs, hitting .429 during that stretch. 0-2. Z gets a side from Soto. Slider is fouled back. Warming up. A hot spell. It was 41 yesterday, 46 today. And now some cloud cover, and the wind is out of the northwest, so a crosswind. Pretty strong at 12 miles an hour.
We did have just a slight sprinkle of rain about 15 minutes before game time, but right now it's dry and hopefully will remain so the rest of the afternoon.
Ready for another 0-2 and another foul back. These two pitches caught a lot of the plate, but McCutchen really couldn't do anything with them except foul them off. He is always chomping on that gum.
Good at bat here by McCutchen. The more pitches you can see your first at bat of a ball game, it's only going to be to your benefit in subsequent at bats against that same pitcher.
And McCutchen is 5 for 7 against Carlos in his career. So he's had good success. Tabata was leaning just a little bit, able to get back in time. And he wants to go, and they almost got him that time. He was dancing off the bag and almost got picked off.
Thought I heard step off come from somewhere, whether it was the Cubs dugout or somebody out on the field, but Tabata definitely thinking about stealing second base right there, barely able to get back under the tag.
Lead much shorter and not running as McCutchen pops it up left side. As Aramis will make the catch. So 9 straight strikes after that walk to the leadoff man, and it'll bring up Lyle Overbay. One for 4 with a double and a walk yesterday. As Bob mentioned during the broadcast, Overbay does hit home runs, but he's basically got doubles power. He'll pile up those 2 base hits.
Had a rough go of it against Big Z in his career. 21 previous at bats. He's only 4 for 21. That's a 190 batting average. He has drawn a few base on balls, but hasn't done much damage against Big Z up to this point.
Overbay, kind of a 15 to 20 homer guy, but a 30 to 40 doubles hitter over the course of a full season. Kick in the 2-0. That missed. 3 balls, no strikes.
He's working on a 7-year stretch of 30 or more doubles. So that reinforces exactly what you said. He does have occasional power, especially to his pull field, which is right. But he's considered more of a gap-to-gap hitter.
And there's ball 4. So the Pirates have 2 base runners in the inning, both coming via the walk. Here comes Pedro Alvarez, left-handed hitting third baseman. National League Rookie of the Month for September, so a strong finish for Alvarez. 2010.
You may hear the occasional cheer because of the scattered clouds we have today. There have been a couple of instances already where the left field bleachers are in the sun, the rest of the ballpark's in the shade. And the right field bleachers are in the sun and everybody else is in the shade. And the people in left field got very excited there for a moment when the sun hit them.
Five straight bad ones here by Z. His command's kind of been off and on today. Swing and a miss. 1-1 on Alvarez. And Bob, I know you were dying to know who the last left-handed hitting third baseman to start for the Pirates on opening day was.
The Gravedigger.
You lost sleep last night. It was, yes, Richie Hebner, 1976. 1-2.
Yeah, thank goodness for the internet. I was able to find that about 3 o'clock in the morning last night as I was doing my extensive research for today's game.
1-2 and pulled in the right past Carlos Pena. Here comes Tabata. Overbay will make third. And the Pirates make Zambrano pay for the 2 walks in this inning. Alvarez with his first RBI of the season. And that was a 1-2 pitch.
Yeah, it goes without saying, Carlos's command is inconsistent at best here in the first inning. He's made some good pitches when he had to. He's lost the zone completely on a couple of hitters, and Alvarez scalds that ball into right field to put the Pirates on the board here at the top of the first. And obviously the walks and the runs scored here in the first inning have to be troubling to Mike Quade and Mark Riggins, but the pitch count is going to be an issue once again. We've seen this in the past from Carlos when he does struggle with his command. It's not unusual for him to throw 20, 25, 30 pitches to get out of an inning, and obviously that's going to shorten his afternoon.
Probably can give the Cubs between 100 and 115 on the day. That's stretched out during spring training as Domet grounds out to Carlos Pena, and that'll end the inning. But the Pirates get a run on one hit. They use 2 walks to take the early lead with the Cubs coming up. Soriano. Tyler Colvin gets the start in right for Kosuke.
Take a look at the Pirates defensively. Same lineup as opening day. Tabata, McCutchen, and Jones across the outfield, left to right. Alvarez and Cedeno on the left side of the infield. Walker and Overbay on the right side. Veteran Ryan Doma doing the catching today for left-hander Paul Mahalem. Mentioned earlier, Mahalem, his best pitch is considered to be his straight changeup. He will use it in any count to any hitter.
Wind, I think, pushed that flare foul.
Mahalem mixes a 4-pitch mix, fast curve, slider, change, but he'll use fastball, changeup mostly to the right-handed hitters. You'll see his curveball more to the lefties and an occasional curveball to get ahead in the count to a right-handed hitter. Throws a lot of ground balls.
Like Big Z, Mahalem, a one-time opening day starter for his team. Pitching here in game 2. Jeff Baker lines to center, but he hit it too well. The paradoxes of baseball, sometimes you can hit it too well.
Well, I'm sure he'll get some encouragement when he gets back to that third base dugout. Stay right there. That's all you can do as a hitter. Get a good pitch to hit. Put a good swing on it. Hit it hard somewhere. Unfortunately, that time right at McCutchen in center field. We showed you Jeff Baker's number against the Pirates left-hander. I mean, there's nothing more you can do as a hitter right there. He got a fastball up in the zone. He barreled it right at somebody.
Castro, a one-hopper to Walker. 2 quick outs. That'll bring up Marlon Byrd, who already trying to change up the mojo. He's got the pant bottoms hiked up above his calves. I don't think I've seen Marlin do that as a Chicago Cub.
I've seen it in batting practice a couple times, but never in a game. Tell you what he could do to help break up the mojo is see a few pitches right here. The last thing you want to do after your pitcher has struggled in the top of the first inning is have a quick offensive half inning and get right back out there on defense. So it would really help matters if Marlin could see a few pitches in this at bat.
Mahalam last year went 8-5 with a 3.5 ERA against the NL Central. Against everybody else, he was 1-10 with a 7.85. And when he faces the Cubs, he doesn't always put up pretty numbers, but his team normally wins. Pirates are 10-3 when he starts against the Cubs. Here's their new skipper, Clint Hurdle. I think Hurdle understood that yesterday was just one of a long 6-month grind, but he wanted his guys to enjoy it. They didn't have a lot of joy last year when they lost 105 games. Broken bat, ground ball. Cedeno will scoop. The Cubs go down quietly on 7 pitches in the opening inning. Early on from Wrigley, 1-0 Pirates. The Len Dawson Bob Greasy fan club, as we like to put it.
They're taking memberships as we speak. So far we have 1 member.
1 ball, no strikes. Garrett Jones, the right fielder. Oh for 2 with a walk in the opener. Swing and a miss. Now the home run area today is going to be right, but you got to keep it fair. It will certainly help any ball hit to right, but if you hit it right down the line, chances are it's going to end up foul.
Now, earlier today, when the Pirates took batting practice on the field here at Wrigley, the wind was blowing pretty much straight out to right field, and as the game started, it moved into more of a crosswind.
Bird with the grab for out number 1. Hall of Famer Fergie Jenkins will join us later during the 7th inning stretch. Very festive afternoon yesterday. Members of Ron Santos' family were on hand. Robert Redford was here. Ricketts family chose a family of Cub fans to throw out a first pitch. Had the 9/11 flag. Colvin retires Cedeno.
Also had 41,000 Cub fans that sat through a miserable, cold, breezy, wet afternoon to watch the opening day, and the hat is off to those fans. Boy, they wanted to be noticed today, no question about it. The day glow, I guess that's green.
Yeah.
Find them very easily out there in the left field bleachers.
From our vantage point, it looks like somebody just put a period with a highlighter over the bleachers. 1-1 on the pitcher Mahalam. Three career extra base hits, 2 doubles and a home run, and it's 2-1. He wanted to know where that one was. Outside, apparently 2-1.
Yeah, Bill Miller, the home plate umpire, is generally, when he works the plate, generally a guy that looks to call strikes. Borderline pitches are normally going to go the way of the pitcher.
Comes a 2-2. Mahalam fights it off. Somebody's got to keep the stat. I would love to see it. What each pitcher averages in terms of balls that are fouled away with 2 strikes. Those are extra pitches that every pitcher has to throw. As Zambrano goes 1-2-3 in the second. Cubs coming back on offense, trailing 1-0.
Break it out before the year's over. Had it yesterday, but didn't really need it. At some point, I'm going to break out my new cap. Probably should have done it. I went and got a haircut yesterday, Atlanta. And you know, after being in Arizona for 6 weeks of spring training and getting the sun around your neckline, and then you go get trimmed up, I've got some serious white walls working today. I could have used a hat.
Ramirez rolls one to his counterpart at third, Pedro Alvarez, and Cubs very aggressive early on against Mahalam. 4 quick outs on 8 pitches.
Wow.
For Mahalam.
It's not unusual to see this kind of approach in a spring training game where everybody's just trying to get their hacks in, swinging at the first pitch they see in the strike zone. But boy, at some point you got to slow down a little bit and force Mahalam to work.
Fantastic 2010. for Giovanni Soto. Season did end a couple weeks early due to right shoulder surgery. Came into camp healthy. As a catcher, his OPS was 900. Only Joe Mauer had a higher number among all catchers in the majors.
I thought it was interesting, Len. I had a conversation with Bobby Dernier, the Cubs first base coach and base running instructor, this morning. It started out being about Starlin Castro and his aggressive base running, scoring the first run of the Cubs season yesterday, scoring from first base on a ground ball to third.
Slide and catch by McCutchen.
And ultimately the conversation turned to Giovanni Soto, and Bobby Dernier said obviously he's not the fastest guy on the team, but Gio is a really good base runner. Says he has real good judgment on when to be aggressive, when to try to take the extra base, and depending on game situation, when to play it a little more conservatively. He felt that if Gio had average or maybe better than average running speed, that he would be one of the best base runners on the team.
I do think this team will get better at base running because of Bob Dernier, who was an excellent base runner in his career. And like we said yesterday, he just wants guys to at least be a threat over there. Take just 10-15% of the pitcher's focus off the batter and put it on that guy at first base. Pirates really shifting now against Carlos Pena. Mahalam goes from the third base side of the rubber as Pena pops it up. Only two defenders on that side of the field. It'll be the third baseman Alvarez to make the catch. And for Paul Mahalam, that's back-to-back 7-pitch 1-2-3 innings to start this one today.
Brought to you by AT Physical Therapy, the best physical therapy in the world. And today's question, who is the only Cub to home run 4 consecutive bats? Is it Adolfo Phillips, Ron Santo, or Bill Switch Nicholson? And the answer is Bill Switch Nicholson. Thank you for playing. Today's trivia question was brought to you by AT Physical Therapy, serving athletes, injured workers, and you in over 100.
Place to go for the best local sports news and highlights. That's Sportsnet Central every night at 6:30, 10, 10:30, and midnight. Right here on Comcast Sportsnet, fans' best friend. Second time through the order. Tabata walked and scored in the first. Zambrano starts him with a breaking ball for a strike. That glances off the glove of Zambrano, and it'll end up being a hit for Tabata. Hey, Bob, right before the pitch was thrown, Giovanni Soto pointed at his right elbow. What's he doing there?
I think he's telling Carlos to keep his arm up. The arm slot has been an issue for Zambrano throughout his career. Occasionally he'll drop down almost a sidearm to try to get more movement on some of his pitches. And when he does that, everything tends to flatten out in the hitting zone. So just a brief reminder as he took his position behind home plate to tell Carlos to get your arm up in the right angle.
Runner was going, and Walker squared the bunt.
And a lot of glances back and forth between the two players. I think somebody missed a sign right there.
You normally don't see both, either one or the other. No harm, no foul as Walker bunted it foul.
It's not unusual for even major league ball clubs to miss signs early in the season. Coming out of the Grapefruit League or the Cactus League in spring training, where teams use what they call camp signs. For example, if I touch my hat, it's a hit and run. If I touch my belt, it's a bunt. If I touch skin, that's a steal. Everything is very easy. You're not trying to trick your own team. You're not trying to fool the other team. You keep the signs very, very simple in spring training, and then when the regular season starts, you go to a more complicated set of signs. So you'll see some missed signs in the early going this season by every team in the major leagues.
Carlos Pena admitted yesterday that he missed a 3-0 take sign. He popped into a force out. Ready now for a 2-1. And it's 2-2.
Neil Walker with the big grand slam in the ball game yesterday. Before today, had played in 10 games against the Cubs in his career. He hit safely in all 10 of those games at a .472 clip. 4 home runs, 11 runs driven in, 6 doubles. Zambrano struck him out back in the first inning. Maybe hang a collar on him today for the first time.
Driven out into deep right center, and nobody's going to catch it.
Never mind.
So Walker does it again. An RBI double to make it 2-0. Kind of wish he had gotten that bunt down.
Yeah, really.
Now batting center fielder Andrew McCutcheon.
Well, I don't know what he does against the rest of the league, but Neil Walker might be the best hitter I've ever seen against the Cubs. He seems to hit the ball hard just about every at bat, and when he does, it's not at somebody. He finds gaps, he finds seats, he finds the foul line down the right or left field line. That guy's been in the middle of everything when the Pirates and the Cubs hook up.
Side on Andrew McCutcheon. Notice we've been using pitch tracks, which we will use all season long. Take a look at borderline pitches and the like. Tied again, 2-0. There are 3 permanently installed tracking cameras throughout the ballpark, and it's pretty accurate, within 1 inch, which is a third of a baseball. So we'll register the location of the pitch at the front of home plate. You say it all the time. It's not where it's caught. It's where it is when it crosses the plate.
Yep.
The system also alters the strike zone for every batter because every batter has a different strike zone. David Eckstein and Derek Lee, for instance, would not have the same strike zone. 3-0 pitch way outside.
Quick trip to the mound here by Giovanni Soto. Carlos just appears to be having a lot of problem finding the proper release point today. We showed you Giovanni Soto reminding him to keep his arm up in the correct slot. When he does that, he throws strikes a lot more consistently.
It'll be foul past first.
Talked about Oberbay's strengths before his first at bat of this ball game. One of his weaknesses is his running speed. If you can get him to hit a ball on the ground, you got a pretty good chance of turning too.
Walker with the RBI double. They have 2 on with nobody out. And the 2-1. Found back 2-2. A couple of other early games going on. Actually, several. And the White Sox jumping all over the Indians again. 5-0 in the second inning. 15-10 was the final yesterday.
Sox had a 14-0 lead at one point in that ball game. We were talking about it earlier. How do you feel about that on opening day? You got a big win. You scored 15 runs, but you had a 14-run lead at one point.
Big strikeout for Z just to get that first out.
It's that off-the-body sinker we talked about earlier. It starts inside, tails back in the upper regions of the strike zone. Overbay just could not pull the trigger.
Edwin Jackson, Carlos Carrasco battling today in Cleveland. Twins and Blue Jays scoreless. They're in the third. Liriano against Graybeck. But Jose Bautista had another home run yesterday. Check out the Midas pitch count. Been a struggle here for Z early on. 2-1 to Alvarez. Everybody wondering if Jose Bautista, with 54 last year, could follow it up this season. Well, he's on pace to hit 162.
On pace. Don't you love that early in the season? He's on pace.
Broken bat and a nice play on the short hop by Pena. They will turn it the hard way. 3-6-1. And Z's pumped up as he was able to limit the damage. Good concentration by Pena as he had the shards of a broken bat flying out toward first base. It's 2-0 Pirates. Japan's children in need. Visit unicef.org or text Japan to 864-233 as Alfonso Soriano sends it to deep center. It's going to be playable for Andrew McCutchen. To donate $10, standard text messaging and transactional fees apply. For more information, visit MLB.com/Japan Relief. Again, visit unicef.org or text Japan to 864-233 to donate. It's a great cause. And we certainly know Kosuke Fukudome has everyone back in Japan on his mind as we start this baseball season. Tyler Colvin getting the start in right today. One and one. It's a little tricky for Mike Quade in this regard. Right now, Tyler Colvin and Kosuke Fukudome sharing time in right, but it's not a platoon because they're both left-handed hitters, and what Mike doesn't want to do is only play Colvin against lefties. So trying to put all the puzzle pieces together, might see Tyler getting some reps over in left field. Now you can play him at first, but again, Carlos Pena, also a left-handed hitter. The two guys sharing time at second right now are both righties, Barney and Baker. 1-2 and a tapper foul. But as Mike said, he wants all these guys to make his life miserable. Get 3 hits every day and make it a really tough decision every time I come to the park.
Absolutely. And of course, Reed Johnson will be in that mix as well if there's a matchup that calls for Reed to be in there, or if one of the 3 starting outfielders, or 4 in the case with Colvin, if they need a day off, I'm sure Reed Johnson will get his share of playing time, especially against lefties.
I think in the middle of the year, if this were June, Reed Johnson would have been in the lineup today, because Reed has gone 7 for 11 in his career against Paul Mulholland. But second game of the season, you tend to go with the more everyday type of player. There's Big Z, big swing, and he just nubbed it foul. 21 career home runs, the most by any Cubs pitcher in team history. Fastball missed outside. Mulholland from Greenwood, Mississippi. 8th overall pick in the 2003 draft. 6'2", 220 pounds.
I mentioned Zambrano holding the career home run mark for the Cubs. And all you need to do is watch the way opposing pitchers go after him to be able to tell that's a fact. They don't pitch him like an opposing pitcher. They're going to mix their speeds. They're going to move the ball in and out, up and down. They're likely to throw him off-speed pitches in fastball counts. That really extends your lineup. When you have a pitcher that can do some damage with the bat, that pitcher doesn't have the opportunity to take a breather for the inning that the pitcher's coming to the plate. He's got to focus and concentrate on making quality pitches, or Big Z might take him out in the street.
Another 1-2. Good take. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Jeff Baker would bat next in this inning if Z gets on. Angels in Kansas City, bottom 3 in KC. Scoreless. Irvin Santana. It's Kyle Davies. Struck well. McCutchen can't get it, and Zambrano has the Cubs' first hit. It's a double. That ball was smoked.
A couple of years since Big Z has hit a double, usually hits it out of the park or gets a single. He smoked that ball just to the right of straightaway center field, the first hit of the game for Cubs, and without a doubt the best at bat by a Cubs hitter so far in this game.
Saw as many pitches in that at bat as the Cubs team did in each of the first 2 innings. 7. This may sound like a minor thing, but I don't think in the case of Zambrano that it is. That he is a National League pitcher. He's gotten off to kind of a tough start on the mound today. Just hasn't gotten comfortable, but it's almost like his offense can kind of get him back in the game maybe on the mound. I mean, we'll wait and see, but he's bouncing around out there at second base. I don't know how he can get frustrated sometimes, but he doesn't look frustrated right now.
You know, and maybe the at bat and running the bases will take the edge off of Carlos in the early going here. It was obvious, and especially in that first inning, that he was really overamped, pitching maybe too quickly between pitches. The second inning, he really struggled to find his command. So hopefully running the bases a little bit will take some of that edge off, and he'll be able to settle in on the mound.
And most pitchers in this spot would put on a jacket in the mid-40-degree weather. Not Z. 3-1 to Baker. Cedeno shuffling a bit to his right. Cubs get their first hit of the day, but leave Zambrano stranded at second. 2-0 Pittsburgh. A fourth meal from Taco Bell, open 1 a.m. or later. Great to see the Menards grounds crew taking care of the infield in between innings. Ballpark, the playing surface in wonderful shape. We mentioned the grass is pretty short. Probably will be longer by the time the Cubs get home after their next road trip. Vines are bare in the outfield, but we'll see some green starting to grow out there in a couple weeks.
The field really is in remarkable shape after all the rain that it took throughout that ball game yesterday afternoon. There was actually standing water a couple of times on the infield. Roger Baird and the boys had a long day yesterday. The field looks beautiful today.
This will be Castro's play as Domet is out. I think last year the ivy came in earlier than any year in previous memory. I think it was mid-April, wasn't it? We had a lucky spring weather-wise last year. It might take a little longer this year.
And it plays differently when the vines are in full bloom and green like we're used to seeing. The ball still ricochets off the bricks behind the ivy, but occasionally we've seen in the past the ball will hit the ivy and disappear completely. But when it's like this, the ball tends to really ricochet off that wall.
It's the only barrier in baseball that changes throughout the season. The great trademarks of Wrigley Field. I suppose in one of the newer parks they could add extra padding, once a month, add another layer of padding. Jones chased, 2-2. Kind of like the left field wall at Park in Washington, start at 8 feet. And in May, make it 10 feet tall. And by the end of the year, it's the Green Monster.
I'm sure there are teams that explored the possibility of having a fence that while you're hitting, you drop it down to 6 feet. While the other team's hitting, you crank it up to 20 feet.
It's unique. Foul tip strikeout.
The 6th annual Chicago Cubs Charities Race to Wrigley 5K on Saturday, April 16th starts at Clark and Addison, continues through the Wrigleyville neighborhood, and finishes with a run down the Wrigley Field concourse and under the famous marquee. Each participant receives a performance management race t-shirt, and personal fundraising proceeds benefits Children's Memorial Hospital. To register, visit Cubs.com/race.
Good friends here from Venezuela and former teammates. Zambrano and Cedeno. 1-1 strike to Ronnie. I was going to mention, Bob, with the Angels and Royals underway early today, we'll see Kansas City later this year in interleague play. You might want to start pronouncing this name right now. Keila Ka'ahue, who hit the game-ending home run last night. Can you say that 5 times?
I'll let you handle that.
We'll keep it to Keila then. Call him by his first name. Good stuff.
Hey fans, watch the Cubs take on the Diamondbacks this Tuesday at Wrigley Field. Be sure to arrive early. The first 10,000 fans will receive an exclusive limited edition
Good curveball at 71 for a strike.
Second time through the lineup, you'll see Mahalam do that more often to the right-handed hitters. Just kind of roll a curveball up there to get ahead in the count and then try to expand the zone with his fastball and changeup.
Up the middle and a base hit. So the leadoff man is on with the heart of the order coming up. 4 hits for Castro already in this series.
Mahalam ahead in the count, tries to elevate a fastball, but didn't get it up high enough. Starlin Castro tomahawks it right back up the middle of the field for a base hit. But if you look up at the end of the season, Starlin Castro will have more base hits back up the middle of the field, certainly than anybody on the Cubs roster, maybe more than anybody in the National League.
Infield pop. Caught by Overbay.
It's such a good approach, and it's worked so well for him in his 1+ year here at the major league level. Just try to focus on hitting the ball back where it came from. If you're a little bit out in front, you'll pull it to left field. If you're a little tardy, you'll hit it to right field. But more often than not, Starlin is right on it and hits a lot of hard ground balls and line drives right back up the middle of the field.
Ramirez grounded out his first time up. Braves and the Nationals scoreless in the bottom of the second in D.C. Tommy Hanson against John Lannon in that one. But Jason Hayward the other day homered in his first at bat of the season for the second straight year.
Well, Jason Hayward figures to have a long, successful career at the major league level. It'll be interesting to see if he can do that the first at bat of every season. We remember the one last year down in Atlanta. It may still be rolling.
It was his first career at bat. 2-0, right back to the pitcher. And they're going to turn a 1-4-3 inning ending double play. So through 4. Mahalam has only faced one more than the minimum. Guess what? A 7-pitch inning once again.
100th texter, you could win five $5 footlong subs from Subway.
Underway in the Pirates' fifth. Mahalam, Tabata, and Walker against Carlos Zambrano. Base hit right field. Paul Mahalam is on. And he will ask for the jacket. I have a question, Bob. Is the pitcher the only player allowed to ask for a jacket, or could the leadoff guy get on and ask for a jacket?
That's a good question. I assume it's only the pitcher who's allowed to stop the game to get some outerwear, but I don't know that for a fact.
Other guys just wouldn't do that. It's not what you do, right?
Well,
Tabata had to vacate. Ball one.
Waiting to see a pitcher get on base and ask for his letter sweater from the dugout. You know?
The one Richie Cunningham used to wear?
Yeah.
Tabata doing what a good leadoff man does. He's been on twice and has scored twice. Just got a piece of that pitch. It's 1-1. April has not been a great month for Carlos Zambrano in his career. You add March and April together, it's the highest monthly ERA of his career, over 4. That is fair as Soto will throw. Low one, and Carlos Pena now is 3 for 3 in digging out low throws in the dirt. He had 2 of them yesterday.
Well, and if you weren't with us for our spring training telecast, Carlos Pena, this is not an accident that he's a good fielder at first base and can pick those low throws. We saw him on a daily basis in Mesa as part of his daily routine lay down a towel, get down on his knees with a very small infielder's glove, and have a coach hit rockets at him. 1 hoppers, 2 hoppers to his right, to his left, straight at him, and he would do that every day. Probably 25 or 30 ground balls hit right at him just so he could work on this. Soft hands, cradles that ball back against his body, and immediately checks the lead runner to see where he is.
Cubs nemesis Neil Walker in an RBI spot. 0-2. Knocked in a run with a double in the 3rd inning. Aziz 4.29 ERA in the first month of the season, the highest of his career in any month. Also allowing 32 home runs, the most of any month. One got away from him, no problem. Makes it 1-2. Cue shot foul past Nick Leyva, the third base coach, former Phillies manager Nick Leyva.
Nick Leyva is one of those baseball lifers. He's been around this game for a long time. And Clint Hurdle, when he got the job here in Pittsburgh, there were a number of coaches, holdovers from within the organization that the Pirates brass wanted to see Clint Hurdle keep on staff, but one of his selections from outside was Nick Leyva. Why not? You take advantage of the experience.
So he's run it full with McCutchen on deck. Sun in and out today. Back again for this 3-2 pitch, and he struck him out.
That's a good example of what we were talking about earlier with Carlos Zambrano, that he pitches now. He doesn't just try to overpower hitters. That's a 3-2 slider. Started right in the middle of the plate, dips underneath the bat of Neil Walker for a strike 3. Perfect location. There was a time early in his career when on a 3-2 count, forget about it. You're going to see a fastball in the upper 90s right down the middle of the plate.
He's going to get out of it here as McCutchen retired on the pop out to Jeff Baker. So Z works around the leadoff single by the pitcher, and it's still 2-0 Pirates in the fifth.
You know, I've said it all along when we broke camp in spring training. I felt the key to the Cubs this year was pounding the ball, scoring a lot of runs. Certainly yesterday, a perfect example of that. Jumped off to the early lead, and then the offense went quiet. And today they're going to have to battle from behind once again. But, you know, at some point you'd like to see some better at-bats, try to get a little deeper in the count, make sure you get a good pitch to hit rather than just put a ball in play because you can.
So as we start this inning, Giovanni Soto behind 0-2. Mahalam's been very sharp here early on. A lot of strikes. That's high. It's 2-2. Wild one in Denver yesterday as the Arizona Diamondbacks beat the Rockies in 11 innings, 7-6. Kind of an off day for Ubaldo Jimenez. Let's see both teams coming up a lot this month. Felix Hernandez with a 5-hitter, a 6-2 win for the Mariners in Oakland. His 14th career complete game. Soto turns on one, deposits it into left for a base hit. It's his first knock of the season.
Ideally, the first of many. Giovanni Soto just looked a little out of rhythm with the game yesterday. Had some fastballs thrown right by him. Much better timing this time. Nice quick swing. A lot of hands right at the very end to drive that ball into left field. Brings
up Carlos Pena. Felix Hernandez was the first pitcher to throw a complete game on opening day since Ben Sheets in 2007 with the Brewers. Big swing and a miss by Pena. Did you see what was written on the board in the clubhouse today? It's a mystery as to who wrote it. I guess Carlos Pena was asked if he did it, and he did not say he did. But when you walk into the clubhouse, you take a look to your right, you see the lineup on the big whiteboard. And these words were written: "You can't see the rising sun if your eyes are fixed on the setting one." Yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery, today is a gift. That is why it is called present. Conquer the now. That's pretty deep.
That is really deep.
It sounds like something Carlos Pena would write.
Well, I know one thing about Carlos Pena. He's going to love it if Giovanni Soto's on base at first a lot for him this season.
Couldn't hold.
Because it will force teams like the Pirates did in this situation to abandon that exaggerated pull shift. It opens a hole on the right side of the infield where Pena hits most of his ground balls, but unfortunately this time couldn't check his swing on a breaking ball off the plate away.
Down the middle to Soriano.
Yesterday is history. Tomorrow's a mystery.
Yes. Live in the now. That's good advice for everybody, not just a baseball player. It can kind of make your head hurt to think about, but Soriano lifts it in the air, and it'll be caught by McCutchen for out number 2. Power of Now, one of my favorite books, basically says the past doesn't exist, nor does the future. The only thing that actually exists is this very moment.
I'll buy that. We're getting way too existential up here. I swear.
It's a long season.
I'm just a baseball guy, for crying out loud. There's some pine tar and some rosin. We're good to go.
Soto still at first as Colvin takes one low.
I did hear one. Today is the tomorrow you worried about yesterday.
Right.
Not sure how that applies to what we were talking about, but the gray matter acts in funny ways sometimes.
Caught the outside corner. Clayton Richard and Jake Westbrook a little bit later. Padres and Cardinals in St. Louis. San Diego winning in extras on opening day. Defending champs are 0-2. The Giants have dropped 2 in a row in LA. It popped out of Domit's mitt, but Soto holding. Matt Cain and Ted Lilly, the former Cub, will battle today at Dodger Stadium. They've been close ones, both one-run decisions. Jonathan Broxton, who had an awful second half last year, is 2 for 2 in save opportunities, so that bodes well for Don Mattingly. Colvin the other way, a base hit. Soto with the play in front of him will hold at second.
Jonathan Broxton on pace to save 162 games this year, which would be a record. That was a nice approach that time by Tyler Colvin against a lefty who's been tough on the Cubs today. A fastball down and out over the plate. Just drop the bat head on it, line it into left field for a 2-out base hit, bringing Carlos Zambrano to the plate with a couple of runners on.
After the Astros blew a late lead yesterday in a game started by Roy Halladay, they get Cliff Lee tonight. Wandy Rodriguez will go for Houston. Z way out front.
Fortunately, hit an empty seat, and the ricochet looked like it missed everybody.
So you would like to have that one back. Kind of looked like he had decided, I'm going to swing no matter where it is.
And unfortunately, Mahalam threw a nice breaking pitch down and in off the plate. Very tentative swing that time from Carlos.
Big swing and a miss. And that'll end the inning as the Cubs strand a pair. They have 4 hits over the last 3 innings, but still nothing to show for it. With a Dan Patrick Show on Comcast Sportsnet. Tune in as Dan talks sports with your favorite athletes, celebrities, and sports media personalities. Weekday mornings from 8 to 11 on Comcast Sportsnet. Two 2-0 Pirates took the opener 6-3 yesterday. And they have had the Cubs number here the last couple of years. About a 2-year stretch, the Cubs had won 27 of 33 between September of 07 and September of 09. Since then, they've gone 5-13 against the Pirates. Lyle Overbay could not check his swing. Strike one. Bounced out in front of home plate. Other action later on. Milwaukee and Cincinnati will resume their series as right-hander Sean Markham will make his Brewers debut against left-hander Travis Wood. He was trying to grab the 5th spot in their rotation going into spring training, but they've had some injuries, so he's now number 2.
That's one thing the Reds talked about throughout spring training, going all the way back to last year, was the depth of young pitchers on their pitching staff, not only at the major league level, but they felt they had a number of guys waiting at the AAA level to make that next step up to the big leagues, and we're going to need that depth with some of the injuries they've suffered early.
Alvarez next, steers a 2-2. And a bouncer fielded by Pena. The toss to Zambrano in plenty of time.
It's time for our Home Depot doing more on defense. Buccos had already scored a run. We're threatening for more. Alvarez gets jammed. Carlos Pena starts the very tough 3-6-1 double play. The real key to any 3-6-1 is how quickly can the pitcher get over there to cover first base. We know Carlos hustles over there every time that ball's hit on the ground to the right side. And I have a note here from Dan McGrath. Wants to say hi to Kathy McGrath and the family back in McDonald, Pennsylvania today.
68 on the rare curveball to make it 0-2. Not quite where Gio wanted it.
I don't know if you noticed there, but this is something we saw from Carlos a lot in spring training this year. When he tries to throw a fastball inside to a left-handed hitter and intends to try to jam him with that pitch, he'll raise his arm angle almost directly over the top. Ball lofted to Soriano and left, should be no problem. If he's trying to throw that sinker on the inside corner, he'll throw out of his normal low 3/4 arm slot. But when he's trying to jam a left-handed hitter, he'll really make an effort to get up on top and make sure that pitch stays inside. In slow motion, Big Z. That's the more traditional low 3/4 arm angle that he'll pitch out of the majority of the time. Gets better movement on his sinker, gets better bite on his slider with that arm angle.
Spins a slider in there for a strike. 1-2 on Doman. Pleasant day for April 2nd, you'd have to say. Mid-40s, maybe getting near 50. Remember, that wind is not coming off the lake. That's a big help at this time of the year. Punch the other way, but it's going to hold up for Soriano as Z works his third 1-2-3 frame of the day. Top of the order for the Cubs in the bottom of the 6th, trailing 2-0. This summer, why not bring them to the ballpark? The mezzanine suites presented by Nuveen Investments can accommodate anywhere from 15 to 55 guests and include food, beverage, and parking. To book your premier experience at the ballpark, visit Cubs.com/suites or call 773-404-4200. One strike on Jeff Baker. With a very good spring. And he hits it to deep left, and it's going to get to the wall. Tabata, however, gets it back in quickly, and Baker is safe as the throw got past Neil Walker. It was back to what you were talking about earlier with the ivy not yet grown in. The ball really carried him back to the left fielder quickly.
Yeah, that ball was smoked to straightaway left field over the head of Tabata out there in left. It hit the wall and came right back to Tabata. Makes a strong throw. And fortunately for the Cubs, it handcuffed Neil Walker at second base. If that's a long one hop or a all the way in the air throw, they probably get Baker at second base right there. That ball was really hit hard.
Third straight inning, the first man has gotten on. Outside to Starlin Castro. Matt Garza starts tomorrow, but I don't think he'll be as active tomorrow as he is today. He cannot sit still.
Well, we saw it down in Mesa in spring training on the days that he did not pitch. Well, a lot of pitchers in that situation will go back up in the weight room and get some work in, maybe go to the training room and get some treatments. Not Matt Garza. He was out on the bench in full uniform every day, whether he was pitching or not. He was the #1 cheerleader in that dugout, trying to rally his teammates, keep the energy up in that dugout, and doing the same thing here today.
One and two. This seemingly would be set up for a big inning for the Cubs. You have a leadoff man on. You have Castro at the plate. 3 and 4 after that. Just haven't been able to get anything going to this point against Paul Maholm. So when you have an opportunity, you better take advantage. Castro is out. Baker has to stay at second. Sound like a broken record when we see the Pirates, but again, you don't want a trail going into the 8th inning. With Evan Meek and Joel Hanrahan on the Cubs side, no matter what happens the rest of the way today, Mike Quade really would like to get Sean Marshall, Kerry Wood, and or Carlos Marmol into game action. It's been a few days for all of them.
And you definitely do not want to let your late game relievers sit for too long at the beginning of the season. They're used to the regular work that they've had coming out of spring training. And you can only simulate so much throwing side sessions down in that bullpen. I'm sure Mike Quade would prefer to see the Cubs take a lead in this game and use Woody and Marshall and Marmol to close out a victory, but he wouldn't go as far as saying he guaranteed they would be in the game, but he said there's a real good chance we're going to try to get him some work today regardless.
0-1 to Bird. Foul. Runner at second, 1 out. Bottom 6. The Pirates with a run in the first and another in the third. Carlos Zambrano has kept his team in the game. Offense trying to get something going here as pitch is in the dirt, 1 and 2.
Stopped by Ryan Doman. His defense is not the best part of his game. He is strictly an offense-oriented catcher, but does a nice job of squaring that pitch in the dirt right up in the middle of the chest protector, dropped right down onto home plate, holding Jeff Baker at second base.
The kick in the 1-2, sprayed foul. Marlins ace Josh Johnson took a no-no into the 7th against the Mets last night. Florida beat New York 6-2. Final home opener in their old ballpark. They'll open a new place next year. Alvarez leaves his feet, throw to first in time. Nicely done by Pedro Alvarez on the play. Baker moving to third. First time the Cubs have had a runner that far advanced on the bases. Watch Comcast Sportsnet Cubs replays on demand with Xfinity only from Comcast. Don't miss the action. Call 1-800-XFINITY today. Ramirez takes a curveball outside.
Nice play by Alvarez at third base on that ground ball off the bat of Marlon Byrd. Even better base running that time by Jeff Baker. Being an infielder, playing a lot of third base, he knows that defensively, if you have to move to your left as deep as Alvarez was playing, that's going to open up a lane for that runner to go from second to third. And granted, he was in scoring position at second base, but now AC's right there. Once he saw Alvarez moving to his left from that deep position, he knew he had enough room to outrun Ronnie Cedeno to the bag at third. And now a possible wild pitch or a pass ball might score a run.
Wind still blowing from left to right. As Ramirez takes it high, it's 3-0 with Soto on deck. Loved Matt Garza's line yesterday. He was asked by the media, are you going to look at the flags when you walk into the ballpark? He said, no, I'll stand on the mound. If I get pushed forward, I know the wind's blowing in. If it pushes me back, I know it's blowing out. I don't need to look at the flags.
Well, we talk all the time about visiting teams, and when the team bus arrives here at the ballpark, the first thing the pitchers do is run up the very first tunnel they see to check the flags. Since Matt Garza was never a visiting player here, that's not an issue.
Got the crowd up momentarily, but way foul. 3-2 on Aramis.
He lives and dies with his teammates.
Having another fan in the dugout. 3-2. We'll do it again.
Aramis Ramirez had the crowd on their feet yesterday. Looked like he was going to hit a 2-run home run to left center field, but it got up in the wind and just died out there on the warning track.
Ball 4 as Mahalam has walked his first batter of the day.
Oh boy, good at bat. Saw a lot of pitches, had a good rip at the 3-1 pitch, pulled it foul down the third base line, ends up drawing a base on balls, and Matt Garza loves it.
Soto's had 2 good at bats. He lined out to center in the second and then singled to left in the 5th. First and third, 2 down. Cubs trail 2-0 in the 6th. Ground ball. Alvarez with a busy inning. He'll take the short route to second. And that's it. We'll head off to the 7th. Still 2-0 Pirates.
Chicago, Lombard, or Rosemont. Call 773-HOLY-COW or visit harrycaries.com today.
Cub fans hoping their team can come back into late innings this afternoon. Hasn't been totally smooth, but Carlos Zambrano has only allowed 2 runs in the first 6 innings. So we start the 7th, bottom 3. The 7-hitter Garrett Jones, and a fly to deep right, and it's gone on the first pitch of the inning. Garrett Jones with his first homer of the season.
Well, you said it very early on, Len. If you're going to hit a home run today, you had a much better chance if you hit the ball to right field because the way the wind is blowing. I don't think Garrett Jones needed much help on that one. It landed well back in the bleachers in right field. Just a get-ahead fastball, upper part of the thighs on the outer part of the plate, allowing Jones to get his arms extended and hook that ball back to right field for a long home run.
6th career homer against the Cubs. And their lead now stretched to 3. One to Cedeno, and a pop up. Soto will not have a play. That ball just on the other side of the netting.
Nice catch by a Cubs fan. Unfortunately, not by a Cubs player. Just on the other side of the netting behind home plate.
Wood and Marshall are up. Uh-oh, something happened.
Cramp.
Yep. Mark O'Neill is out with Mike Quaddy.
This has been a persistent problem for Carlos Zambrano over the last 4 or 5 years. Usually it happens when the weather heats up and he starts to lose fluids out there on the mound, but very cool afternoon here today. He is rapidly creeping up on the 100 pitch mark in this ball game. And just based on his reaction, it certainly looked like the cramping issues that he's had with that right arm in the past.
So we'll have the Honda call to the pen. Hopefully nothing serious, just a precautionary move here. As Kerry Wood will come in when we come back. Prides himself on his offense. Once he gets started running the base, it's hard to slow him down. So here's Kerry Wood. Got a great hand, as he has gotten all spring in his return to the Chicago Cubs. Same locker in the home clubhouse. Just feels right having Kerry Wood back, doesn't it?
It really does. I mean, he mentioned some of the improvements in the clubhouse and the weight room since he was last with the Cubs, but it had to feel like slipping on a comfortable old pair of shoes for Woody when he entered that clubhouse on the third base side of Wrigley Field and getting his first action of the 2011 season here today. We talked about Zambrano not being the same pitcher that he was maybe 4, 5, 6 years ago, and the same could be said for Kerry Wood. Still a power pitcher. Everything still works off of his fastball, but he's not just going to stand out there and challenge every hitter with his best heater. Throws a little two-seamer with some movement. He's got a cutter that he uses extensively now.
And he'll get as much time as he needs because Zambrano was lifted due to an injury, and I hate to speculate, but it had the appearance of a cramping issue, and hopefully that's it. So Wood will take over this at bat with a 2-2 count on Ronnie Cedeno. Jones led off the inning with a home run. Kerry's fastball has been very consistent. There's Jose Veras. Saw him yesterday. Last year, according to Fangraphs, Woody's fastball averaged 94.4 miles an hour. Soto over, and he just can't get there. Well, you got to navigate through those donuts and bats and all kinds of stuff in the on-deck circle. The bat boy, the on-deck hitter,
security guard, and you've got the wind pushing the ball further that way. You see him trying to tiptoe across that on-deck circle. Not sure if he would have been able to get to it anyway, even if he does get to the barrier over there.
Three-two pitch, fouled back, and as we suspected, cramping in Carlos Zambrano's right hand, the reason he was lifted. Ball 4.
Lynn, we talk about coming to the ballpark every day to see something you just don't normally see, and we've seen it in the first 2 games of this 2011 season. Ronnie Cedeno with a walk here in this at bat in the 7th inning, and yesterday his walk against Ryan Dempster in the 5th, really the key to that entire inning. I don't know if Ronnie Cedeno ever walked back-to-back games in his career here with the Cubs.
And that was a very key at bat. In the game yesterday, chatting with Luis Silverio, their first base coach. Runner goes, and Mahalam swinging away and hits it foul right at the plate.
That's a play that Clint Hurdle likes to use a lot. I saw him do it many times as a manager of the Colorado Rockies. With the pitcher at the plate, nobody out in the inning, and a runner at first base, show bunt on the first pitch and then switch to hit and run. You'll see Ramirez will come charging in from his third base position. Pena was starting to charge from first. Castro's covering the bag at second.
Throw to second. They get one, and that's it. So it'll be a fielder's choice for Mahalam.
decision right there by Giovanni Soto. He got out of the chute quickly, immediately saw he had a chance for the lead runner at second base. And we talk about Starlin Castro. That's an unnecessary throw right there. Mahalam is already 2 steps past the bag at first base. And those are the kind of decisions that, as he gets more experience, he'll probably hang on to that ball next time in a similar situation. No harm, no foul on that particular throw, but if you throw that ball up into seats, it puts a runner in scoring position with 1 out in the inning for the top of the order.
Talbot has made some things happen in that leadoff spot. Big swing and a miss on the cut fastball. 1 strike. Hall of Famer Fergie Jenkins coming up with our 7th inning stretch. Cutter strike. 0-2. A rare breaking ball from Carey. Swing and a miss. Two away. Kerry Wood is second on the all-time strikeouts per 9 innings list. In his career, 10.35 Ks per 9. Number 1 on the list, Randy Johnson at 10.61. And just by comparison, last year, Carlos Marmol set a major league record for a reliever. 15.99 strikeouts per 9. So the right-handers at the back end of the bullpen, they're going to miss some bats this year.
No question about it. I mean, those are fantasy league numbers that Marmol put up last year. Ideally, he walks fewer batters this year, hits fewer batters this year, and would probably increase those strikeout numbers.
You know, that's a great question. Would that in fact happen? We can ask Fergie about that when we chat with him in the bottom of the 7th. Are they correlated in some way, the strikeouts and the occasional wildness? It's an interesting topic.
Given the fact that very few opposing teams hit Carlos Marmol, I would have to say it's a foregone conclusion.
Here comes Fergie, 7th inning stretch time.
Take me out to the ball game, Hall of Famer Fergie Jenkins.
That time, and come on, guys, everybody up. Let's go, let's go. 1, 2, 3. Take me out to the ball game. Take me out with the crowd. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks. But I don't care if I ever get back for it. Root for the Cubbies. If they don't win, it's a shame. For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes are out at the old ball game. Come on, guys, let's get motivated here. Let's go. Let's get motivated. Score some runs. Let's go.
deal
It's
for
fun.
this guy.
Fun to do. I mean, Leo DeRocher just gave you the ball and said, I'm not taking you out of the ball game unless I'm unhappy with your performance. So I was out there a lot.
You didn't make him unhappy very often.
No, I tried not to.
3-0 Pirates. Carlos Pena swings and misses. Bob was asking you during the break how many opening day starts you made, and you don't even remember. But it was probably like 10 or 11. Huh?
Yeah, 18 years in the big leagues. I think I had maybe 6 with the Cubs and 2 or 3 with Texas, a couple with Boston.
Was that special for you, Fergie? I mean, obviously, if you get the opening day start, it means you're probably the best pitcher on the staff, which you certainly were all throughout your career. But was there something special about opening day more so than other starts?
Well, I wanted to get motivated, and that was kind of the pride of having the manager pick you the last week of spring training. It's not like given to you now. I mean, you had to earn it. And I just think that I had Billy Martin for a couple of years. I had Don Zimmer. And I had Leo DeRocher for 9 years. I mean, it was an earned situation.
Interesting maneuver there with the big shift on. We didn't see Carlos do that in spring training, but trailing 3-0, maybe trying to lay down a bunt. It doesn't have to be a good one. If you get it past the pitcher on the left side, you have a base hit.
But just the fact that he tried it, Len, the advanced scouts sitting behind home plate are making a note of that right now, and perhaps you'll get some teams to abandon this exaggerated shift if he can do that just once or twice a month. Show that he will put down a bunt to the left side.
Can he keep this one fair? No.
Wow. First time I seen this shift was Ted Williams.
Yeah.
And then later on, McCovey had it for a while. And I think Ryan Howard with Philadelphia. I mean, Ted Williams, he pulled everything.
The big difference I've noticed with the shift, Fergie, is as we see Neil Walker, the second baseman, is way out in shallow right field. Teams used to move guys around a little bit, but they always stayed on the infield dirt. More recently, we've seen that second baseman way out there in right field.
Yeah, it's that hard ground ball. It's an easier play, especially in short right field.
1-2 the count on Carlos Pena. And that's low and outside. Before I forget, I want to ask the question I posed earlier about Carlos Marmol. If he walked fewer guys and hit fewer guys, would his strikeouts go up or down? Nobody knows for sure, but I'm not so sure. Maybe that wildness is what makes him ultimately effective.
Yeah, he's effective when he's wild. I think people don't have a tendency to stand in the box and be as comfortable. Because they think, hey, this guy's a little wild, like maybe get hit. They don't want to take a walk, especially if you get hit hard.
Well, your job as a pitcher is to get guys out, but part of that is to not make them comfortable.
Yeah, that's it, definitely. He's the kind of guy that on a weekly basis, you might get 2 performances that are really, really good with control, and those other 2 are not.
Full count now, 3-2 on Carlos Pena. Fergie, we saw you a lot in Arizona during spring training. You had many events at different ballparks with Hall of Fame players and signing autographs, and you were all over the place.
Well, yeah, we went to about 4 different stadiums, 5 sometimes. Surprise, Phoenix, Scottsdale, and also Mesa, and had players like Gaylord Perry and Raleigh Fingers and Vita Blue and a bunch of other guys that were players that were real popular in their teams, and we tried to raise money for different charitable organizations.
Good at bat as Pena works the walk, and that'll bring up Alfonso Soriano. Tying run now on deck. Cubs trailing 3-0, and coming up in about a month and a half, the Cubs' second annual fantasy camp here at Wrigley Field, May 15th and 16th.
That should be fun. And Billy Williams will be here, Randy Hundley, myself, Lee Smith. Maybe have a guest appearance, maybe Ernie Banks, who knows. But going to have a lot of participants out there. We're going to teach a little baseball and maybe play a 1, maybe 2-inning ball game.
Well, what a thrill for any fan to be able to play a game here at Wrigley Field.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun. Get on a Major League diamond and just to walk on the grass. A lot of individuals never get that in their lifetime to have that happen.
I'll tell you, it was a thrill as a visiting player to come here to Wrigley Field, and you knew you were going to get on the field. I can't imagine for the fans who have sat through so many ball games here at Wrigley to actually get to put on a uni and walk out there on that infield, that has to be a great feeling.
Yeah, it's a fun situation. First time I walked on the field in Yankee Stadium, and I'd been in the American League only just that one part of the year, and then they redesigned it, and then you had to wait for the following season, 75. And I went out at 2 o'clock. I was pitching against Catfish Hunter that night. I was out there at 2 o'clock, and I just walked around and took a look at where the monuments are now, not on the field, but behind the wall. But I mean, it's a great ballpark.
Off the plate inside, and it's 2-2 on Soriano. Sean Marshall up in the Cubs bullpen as we get down near the bottom of the order. Terry Wood did his job, coming in for Carlos Zambrano in the top of the 7th. Foul out of play off to the right. Well, you're from Canada, so I think I probably know the answer, but just from a comfort standpoint on the mound, would you rather pitch at Wrigley Field in 40-degree weather or in the Texas when it's 100 in July? Did it matter to you?
No, neither situation bothered me. I enjoyed the heat. But coming here at Wrigley Field, that was a comfort zone here. It was a great ballpark. I pitched in Park Jerry one time, opened it up, and it was 30 degrees, snow on the ground. The ground was frozen, but you get used to it.
About the ballpark at Montreal as Soriano turns on one, and it's going to make the seats foul.
You know, that wind is blowing to right field. I haven't seen many line drives to right yet. Just one home run. and just when you think about it, you got to hit that ball in the gap someplace. Pulling the ball to the left, I think you can see the flag's just going to stop. Hit that ball to right center.
Well, it's a different ballpark every day based on the wind.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You know oh so well.
Yeah, when I drove up Waveland to come around in the parking lot, I took one look at the flags. I knew which way I had to pitch.
2-2. Soriano missed it, and it got past Domet. He has no idea where the ball is. And Soriano is out. On the play, Pena moved to second base.
Well, I know from experience this is a frustrating feeling for a catcher when you have no idea where that baseball is. Goma did not block the 5-hole. His vision was screened by the home plate umpire. He didn't see that ball rolling back behind home plate. He still has no idea where it is at that point. A pretty heads-up play by Paul Mulholland, the pitcher. You saw him streak by right there. He realized his catcher didn't know where the ball was, so he sprinted all the way in from the mound to hold Pena at second base.
Tyler Colvin bounces. That's a fair ball. Overbay will take it by himself. So 2 outs in. Reed Johnson will be the pinch hitter. He'll get a nice hand in his season debut, back with the Cubs for the second time. Reed, a big part of Cubs championship, division championship team back in 2008. Glenn Hurdle is going to make a change. Reed Johnson's been lethal against lefties in his career, and he'll go with the right-hander Jose Veras. So the Honda call to the pen, runner at third, 2 outs. With the Cubs trailing the Pirates 3-0. We'll be back. Call to the pen brings on right-hander Jose Barris. Barris yesterday 2/3 of an inning, a hit, no runs. Reed Johnson going to stay in there and take this pinch hit at bat. We're here with Fergie Jenkins. Fergie, you have got an event coming up later this summer as well, Holiday Heroes.
Yes, definitely. We're supporting a lot of youngsters that have either cancer or terminal cancer, and we'll be holding an event here in July. So it should be a lot of fun in the Chicago area.
We'll get you more details as we get closer to that event. Runner at third with 2 outs. Johnson showing bunt, taking that breaking ball off the plate for ball 1.
Like that, Reed Johnson saw that Alvarez at third base was playing way back. Ball was in the strike zone. He probably would have tried to bunt it down that third base line, pick up an RBI with a bunt base hit.
By the way, I'd like to confirm this, but we think Alfonso Soriano was called out because first base was occupied on that swing and a miss and wild pitch. Johnson did try to bunt that time. The fans were encouraging Alfonso to run, but Evan Meek is up in the bullpen.
Excuse me, Len. I've checked the rule book for sure, but I believe if the runner at first base is running on the pitch, first base is considered unoccupied, and if it's a swinging strike 3 and the catcher drops the ball, then you can run. But if that runner at first base is holding his ground and only runs after the ball gets past the catcher, then the batter's not entitled to advance to first base.
Another bunt, and it's foul.
Well, Alvarez refused to come in and respect the bunt from Reed Johnson. He showed bunt on the first pitch, tried to bunt the second one, tried to bunt the third one. Alvarez never budged from his position about 20 feet behind third base down there.
And a pop-up on the infield. It'll be the shortstop Cedeno over near the second base position to end the inning. Hall of Famer Fergie Jenkins, always a pleasure. Thanks for stopping by.
Pleasure, guys.
Brewed Coors Light. We've been talking about Carlos Pena and his defensive prowess down there at third base. By our unofficial count, this is already 3 errors he's saved for other position players by picking low throws out of the dirt. As I mentioned, Freeze Cam brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light, the world's most refreshing beer. Boy, Cub fans have really been spoiled by a good defensive first baseman. I don't know if any other organization can brag of such a string of great defenders down there at first base.
Here's Sean Marshall, hoping to help the Cubs stay close and hoping they come back today. And also, he's going to keep his eye later on Virginia Commonwealth in the Final Four, his alma mater. Take on Butler.
Hey, you know Sean Marshall's rooting for VCU. The question is, did he pick him in his pool? Did he like him that much?
No, I don't think he did. I thought I read that he had him winning 1 or 2 games, and that's it.
Well, that's 1 or 2 games more than most picked VCU to advance in the NCAA tournament.
Two the count on Andrew McCutcheon. Yeah, we were correct. With less than 2 outs, first base occupied, the batter is out automatically, regardless of whether the pitch gets by the catcher. With 2 outs, that's not the case. You can reach first. Fans were encouraging Soriano to run, but he was already out. McCutcheon lofts it into center. Marlon Byrd surrounds it.
Yeah, I love watching Marlon Byrd play center field. Even on a routine fly ball like that last one off the bat of Andrew McCutcheon, Marlon got himself in a position to keep the ball out of the sun. You can see the shadow directly behind the Cubs center fielder, and as he started over for that ball, he realized if he continued on that path, the ball was going to be right in the middle of the sun, so he kept running actually to the other side of the baseball, looked back toward left field, so he kept the ball out of the sun. Now you see him actually turn his body to get around that baseball and make sure that he could see it all the way into the glove.
One and one on Lyle Overbay. Shallow center, and it's Byrd again. Bring your best customers and guests inside the ballpark this season with a private suite located in the world-famous Bud Light bleachers. The new and improved Budweiser Batter's Eye Suite features a sports bar atmosphere with new TVs, bar-style tables, and windows that open to give you the atmosphere of the bleachers in your own private room. The suite can hold up to 100 guests and includes food, drinks, and parking. Visit Cubs.com/suites or call 773-404-4200. And just to clarify, I don't think you can park in the suite, but you do get parking.
It's big, but it's not that big.
Not that big. Pull your car into the Batter's Eye Suite.
It'd be like going to a drive-in movie.
Just missed the corner, and it's 2-1 on Alvarez. Delayed in Washington. Assume that means it's raining. Nationals leading Braves 4-1 in the fourth. Rick Ankiel with a 2-run homer in the third inning of that game. Chipper Jones, if he can stay healthy, might be poised for a big season. 2 for 2 today, hitting .667.
Wow,
that's pretty good.
Boy, Chipper's on the doorstep of about a half a dozen milestones, most of which guarantee a guy will go to the Hall of Fame if you accomplish those milestones.
First time Chipper has ever played in the big leagues and not playing for Bobby Cox. Freddie Gonzalez is their new manager. Swing and a miss. Gets out of the mitt of Soto. He will have to fire to first to get Alvarez. So Sean Marshall and Kerry Wood doing a nice job out of the bullpen, but it's still 3-0 Pirates. Evan Meek. Well, the script over the first 2 days could not have been written more poorly for the Cubs and better for the Pirates. And that is giving the ball to Meek and Hanrahan with a lead late. This is not a good formula for trying to beat the Pirates. Cubs learned that the hard way last year. This guy's nasty. Evan Meek.
As you mentioned, we saw Meek in the 8th inning of the ball game yesterday. Gave up a leadoff single to Carlos Pena, then got Soto to fly to right, and then back-to-back strikeouts of Soriano and Barney to end the inning.
Osuke got on 3 times yesterday from the leadoff spot, and it's 3-0. Right down the middle, 3-1. Slicing foul by about 2 feet.
I was hoping the wind might push that one back. It was close to the line the whole way, but because of the side spin on that drive down the left field line, it just continued to slice into foul territory.
And a walk to lead off the inning. Hey fans, visit the newly renovated Captain Morgan Club at Wrigley Field with more than 30 flat screens, an expanded menu, and an outdoor patio atmosphere. Make it your place to catch all home and away games. Captain Morgan Club, your neighborhood pet-friendly headquarters and destination place. For more information, including specials and private party options, call 773-404-4750. Ball 1 to Castro. Kosuke will advance. A wild pitch on Evan Meek.
Doman sets up right down the middle of the plate. That cutter is way over in the left-handed batter's box. Goes all the way to the backstop, moving Kosuke into scoring position. You see Doman talking it over with his pitcher out there, Evan Meek. So stop throwing cutters in the other batter's box, will you?
Some days, guys just don't have it. The Cubs hoping today is that day for Evan Meek. Walked the leadoff man. He's 2-0 on Castro. Pitch was up.
He may settle in this outing here today, but Evan Meek doesn't even look like the same guy we saw in the ball game yesterday. I don't think he missed his spot one time in his inning of work yesterday.
2-1 to Castro. Here's the pitch. Fly ball out into deep right center. Garrett Jones on the move. It's going to be over his head. Gets stuck right in the vines. Fukudome will score. Cubs are on the board. It's 3-1. Starlin Castro with his first RBI of the year. His second multi-hit game in as many days. And all of a sudden the tying run will come up.
Ball's on the inside part of the plate, and Castro adjusts his swing to get the barrel on it. That ball carried a long way and just stuck in the ivy out there, or what will be the ivy. Big RBI knock for Starlin Castro. I'll tell you what, Len, we talked about it in spring training. He is driving the ball and hitting it with a lot more authority when he gets pitches up in the zone like that one.
Marlon Byrd, still nobody out. Strike one. Chris Resop is now up, as I think the Pirates see what everybody in the ballpark sees, that Evan Meek does not have the command he had yesterday. Meek was an all-star last year. It's way high, 1-1.
You wouldn't expect to see it with nobody out in the inning and trailing by 2, but the Pirates' middle infielders are not paying any attention to Starlin Castro out there. As he took his lead off on that last pitch, he looked slightly to his left to see where Walker was, and then he peeked over his shoulder to see where Ronnie Cedeno was. If Byrd would happen to make out right here and the Pirates play the same defense, look for Castro to try to steal third.
Ground ball to first. Kicks away from Overbay. Castro on his way to the plate. He'll score without a throw. 3-2. And the tying run on base. An error on the first baseman, Overbay.
Little squibber hit down there to first base to Overbay. Well, it looked like he was in pretty good position to field that ball. The last bounce came up and got him on the wrist. And once again, Starlin Castro and his hustle on the bases. He never assumes anything. He's going hard to third. He saw that ball skip away. Turns the corner and scores without a slide at home plate, making it a one-run ball game.
This is Ray Searage, the Pirates pitching coach. Trying to calm down Meek. Also buy a little more time. Garrett Olson's going to grab a ball, so they have double barrel action in the bullpen.
I'm sure Olson getting ready with an eye toward Carlos Pena if the Cubs happen to get down that far in the order here in this inning. This is a rare opportunity to get to one of the better late inning relievers in the National League, who is obviously having an off day today.
Here's Aramis. Slider strike. Bird with much of a lead at first. That run is huge. It's a tying run at first with nobody out. Fly to left, Tabata. For the first out. It will be an interesting decision. Assuming for the moment Meek gets Soto and kind of gets back on track, whether or not Clint Hurdle will let him face Carlos Pena or go with the lefty. But first things first.
Giovanni Soto's had a nice day at the plate, lined out to center field in his first at bat. Base hit back in the fifth inning, was stranded at second base, and then hit a hard ground ball for a fielder's choice in the sixth. Seeing the ball very well today.
You mentioned it yesterday. Ryan Doman has not been very good throwing out base stealers in his career. Now, he nailed a runner yesterday, and no pitch. Time called at the plate. Marlon Byrd, not a huge threat to run, but boy, a stolen base in this spot would loom large, wouldn't it?
It really would. Talking about Doma and his inability to throw out runners, only 8% last season. 6 out of 74 attempted base stealers.
Marlin getting a bigger lead. Time called again. Swing and a miss on a slider. 0-2 the count.
Now, Meek has not had this pitch working since coming into the ball game, but that's an absolute perfect slider right there. Started on the outside part of the plate, ended up low and away.
Ground ball, base hit in the right. Bird's going to have to stop at second.
Nice two-strike hitting by Giovanni Soto. You can see that hole on the right side of the infield, takes a fastball away and just rolls it into right field to put runners at first and second with one out. Well, you'd have to believe, well, maybe not. I was going to say you have to believe Clint Hurdle's got to go to the lefty right here, but the lefty's had a seat. We talked about Meek and Hanrahan, their 8th and 9th inning guys, as good as any in the National League, and he's going to stick with the guy that did such a good job last season. Give him the opportunity to try to pitch out of this jam.
Pirates can't really shift at all. But the only thing they can do is move Cedeno near second. But Alvarez has to stay tight at third with Bird the runner at second, and Pena went around for a strike. According to Tom Hallion at third, I think Carlos knew it. He didn't even look up on that appeal. You know, it's early, Bob. We'll have to see over the long haul, but there have been a lot of half swings by Carlos Pena going back to spring training. Check swings on close pitches.
And most of the time, if you see a hitter doing that, there's some indecision. Either mechanically he's not in a good position, or mentally he's thinking about the wrong things while he's up there at the plate. And normally, as you get more and more locked in as the season progresses, you'll see fewer and fewer check swings.
Popped down the left field line, twisting foul, out of play. Well, the other part of this equation could be, and obviously the guy at the plate's the most important guy, but I think Clint Hurdle's saying, I'm going to let Meek go after Pena, but I think he's our best chance against the guy on deck, Alfonso Soriano, who struck out yesterday against Evan Meek. And if you use Olsen against Pena, you're going to have to take him out and bring Resop in to face Soriano. So you can look at it both ways.
Occasionally that can get you in trouble, though, as a manager, when you look too far ahead. I mean, at this point in a one-run ball game, the guy at the plate is the one you're the most worried about, but he's got confidence that Meek can get the job done.
Pena did single off Meek in the 8th inning yesterday. Pushed off the plate on the fastball. It's 1-2. Well, Meek gave up an 0-2 hit to Soto. He was not going to give up an 0-2 hit here.
No. 94-mile-an-hour fastball up and in off the plate.
Here it is. Popped him up. McCutchen coming way in, and he's going to make the catch. Cedeno was there as well. 2 outs. Carlos Marmol's ready. He's going to pitch the 9th either way, hoping that it's in a tie game or with the Cubs leading. But it's up to Soriano at this point.
But I'll tell you what, Len, Carlos Pena the last 2 days has just missed home runs by the narrowest of margins. We saw him hit a mile-high pop-up into the infield yesterday that I don't know if I've seen a pop-up hit that high here at Wrigley Field. And once again, that last at bat there, the fly ball to center field, just underneath the ball a little bit.
Now Alfonso Soriano, who's 0 for 7 to start the season. He's either hit the ball in the air or struck out. Missed a slider.
That 0 for 7 would be forgotten with a gapper right here.
No question.
Yeah.
Still looking to put a ball in play against Evan Meek. 1-1. 1-2. So 2 sliders, then the fastball. Meek will either try to go in with a fastball or away with a slider. That's almost a guarantee.
In and up. I got to believe he's going to go back to that slider, low and away. That's been the pitch that Fonzie's had the most trouble laying off of throughout his career. Got a better swing at that one. That ball stayed up in the zone, over the plate. Good swing, just fouled it straight back. Even though that pitch on our pitch tracks registers right on the outside corner, that is not where Ryan Doman and Evan Meek wanted that slider. They wanted it to start near the outside corner and end up in the dirt low and away, and that's why Ryan Doman called timeout after that pitch and went to the mound to talk it over with his righty.
Cubs with a couple of hits, couple of runs in this inning. Fly ball down the right field line. Again, the wind is going to push everything like that out of play. Cubs taking advantage of an error by Lyle Overbay as well.
It looked like Meek just kind of nodded his head a little bit to the right, as if to indicate to Ryan Doman that he wanted to go in with a fastball.
Out into right center, and it's going to get down, and the Cubs have tied the game as Bird scores. Alfonso Soriano on a 1-2 pitch gets his first hit of the season, and we're tied at 3.
I'm sure that was the intent of Evan Meek to come inside with a fastball. He grooves it right down the heart of the plate. Saw Soriano clapping his hands as he came out of the batter's box. He knew that one was going to get down and tie up this ball game.
That will be it for Evan Meek. It'll be Chris Resop. It's the Honda call to the pen. The Cubs have come all the way back. They'll try to get the lead when we return. season debut. The Cubs have tied it with 3 runs here in the 8th inning. First and third, Tyler Colvin coming up.
Rysop is basically a fastball, curveball pitcher. You'll see an occasional straight changeup. Had himself a real nice spring for the Pirates down in Florida. Pitched 13 in the 3rd innings, gave up 13 base hits, struck out 14 batters, walked only 3.
Well, the Cubs have the go-ahead run just 90 feet away in Giovanni Soto. Again, Carlos Marmol will get the ninth. Hoping with a lead. Ball 1. Colvin 1 for 3. Blake DeWitt in the pitcher's spot is on deck. Borderline pitch. Called ball 2. Rysop, former Marlin, Angel, and Brave. Finished strong last year with the Pirates. 22 games, a 189 earned run average. Got him on waivers from Atlanta in August. Missed again. He wanted that one. Tell by the body language. Didn't get it. 3-0.
Yeah, good pitcher's pitch that time for Rysop, right at the bottom of the strike zone with some movement, but a better eye by Tyler Colvin to lay off that pitch.
He got the green light and hit it out of play.
Don't really have a problem with him getting the green light 3-0 in this particular situation, but you got to put a better swing on it than that. You don't want to foul a ball off to your off field if you get the green light 3-0. If anything, hook it foul down that right field line, trying to do some damage. Extra base hit, possibly hit one out of the ballpark.
Fans in midseason form calling for the balk, as they always do in every ballpark in the major leagues on that move. Another foul. Just once you'd love to see an umpire say, you know what, timeout. I'm going to call a balk because everybody here wants me to. It's not a balk, but we'll go with the majority rule today.
I just have, one of those little control panels at every seat, and you can vote on what the call is. Fans say balk.
Full count. Soriano will be on the move. Overbay playing behind him. And the fans getting on their feet. Here it is. Ball 4 to load him up.
A nice at bat by Tyler Colvin. The 3-0 swing notwithstanding when he fouled the ball down the third baseline, but he laid off some very tough borderline pitches to draw that base off balls. Now you see all those sinkers missing down and away, and Rysop misses further away with the 6th pitch of the at bat. Tyler Colvin will take his base on balls and load him up for Blake DeWitt.
Second time in as many days he's been used as a pinch hitter. He struck out in the 9th inning yesterday. Carlos Marmol has thrown a complete game in the bullpen. He's been warming up for the last 25 minutes or so. He's ready. I'd like to see the Cubs take the lead here. And they will! Blake DeWitt is going to knock in 2. On his way to second, that's a double. Blake DeWitt, who had a very tough spring, relegated to the end of the bench, and he comes through with a go-ahead 2-run double.
Well, biggest hit of the young season, right off the end of the bat, but got enough of it to get it out there in the left field corner. Faba's throw back in too late at second base. Big knock by Blake DeWitt.
Back to where we started, and Kosuke Fukudome, who pinch hit, walked, and scored to start this inning. A 5 spot in the 8th. One-0 pitch, outside corner, 1-1. Be a good omen for Sean Marshall. He has a chance for a win now. Again with his alma mater playing later in the Final Four. This guy waited back and hit it foul. Marshall came into the game. He was pitching, trailing 3-0. Now his team leads 5-3. Still 1-2. We'll see what Mike Quade decides to do defensively. Either he'll leave Soriano in the game in left, or put Colvin in left and keep Fukudome in the game in right. Back to the pitcher, and this will end the inning. But what an inning for the Cubs. They get a standing O from the fans. 5 runs, so we'll go to the 9th. Carlos Marmol will try to save it. 5-3. Lots of changes. Kosuke will remain in the game in right, moving Colvin over to left. Soriano is out. Darwin Barney into play second base after Jeff Baker was taken out for the pinch hitter. And the most important guy is on the mound, Carlos Marmol, facing Ryan Doman. Strike one. 5-3 Cubs.
See the career numbers for Carlos Marmol, obviously coming off a tremendous season last year, and he continued in the Cactus League. Woo. 9 appearances, 9 innings pitched, only surrendered 5 base hits, struck out 13 opposing hitters, and held the opposition to a 161 average in the Cactus League.
All 5 runs were charged to Evan Meek. Only 2 were earned because of that critical error by Lyle Overbay. Fastball outside, rather slider outside, 1-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3.
Well, that's just unfair. That's a slider that just falls off the table. He has as much downward movement on that slider as some split-fingered fastballs around the league. I mean, Ryan Doman is a very accomplished major league hitter, especially from the left side of the plate, and Marmol just made him look silly.
That's the thing we've learned here in the first 2 days of the season is don't score first. Cubs did yesterday and lost. Pirates did today, and they're down to 2 outs to go and trailing by 2. Blake DeWitt, a pinch hit, 2-run double to give the Cubs the lead. And a lot to talk about in that 8th inning. I think one thing that'll go unnoticed is the leadoff walk by Fukudome as Jones strikes out, 2 away.
Now Ryan Doman to chase a slider down in the zone. This time leaves the slider up over the inside part of the plate, but Garrett Jones way out in front came up empty.
One and one on Ronnie Cedeno. Ross Ohlendorf at Garza tomorrow. Normal 1 strike away from making tomorrow's game the rubber match. Here it is. 2-2. Ronnie's had some good at bats in this series. Works a full count, 3-2. Trying to keep it alive for John Bowker, who's on deck. 3-2 pitch. He got him. Cubs win on the slider. Marmol strikes out the side. The Cubs score 5 times in the 8th, and they win it 5-3.
Carlos Marmol strikes out the side to notch his first save of the season. A hard slider at the knees went across the front of home plate. Well, almost as important, Len, for me as the strikeouts, were the fact that Marmol was able to get ahead in the count. Throw strike one. If he's able to do that, he's going to have a lot of summer.
Let's go down to the field. Luke standing by with Blake DeWitt.
Blake DeWitt is the hero of today's game. Walk us through that big double in the 8th inning.
You know, as a team right there, that's big. That's huge. You know, you hit through the lineup right there. It's one of those situations. There's a team. You know, you're down late in the game. We've battled all day. It's one of those situations as a team you can lay down or keep battling. And we definitely kept battling. Had great at bats up and down the lineup right there. Made them work. And lucky to get that hit in there.
Speaking of battling, I know it was a tough spring for you, but Mike Quade said this morning he believes in you guys. He wants you to all play great at second base. What's it like to have a manager that believes in you and will put you in that situation?
No doubt. He has everyone's back, and everybody's got a sense of that early on last year when he came in. That he's got your back. Go out and play hard, do the right things, keep working hard, and good things are going to happen. Didn't have a good spring, but spring's been over for a couple days, so I forgot about that.
You guys all get along pretty well too, don't you?
Oh, no doubt. It's a great clubhouse, great atmosphere to be in, and everybody loves coming to the park.
Congratulations on the hit and the first win of the season.
Thank you.
Blake DeWitt, a big 2-run double, and the Cubs get their first win of the season. Len?
All right, Luke, thanks. GMC player of the game, Blake DeWitt. So Marshall gets the win. Carlos Marmol the save. Evan Meek takes the loss. That was a fun one. At least the last 2 innings were a lot of fun.
Well, you got to tip your cap to the starting pitcher for the Pirates. Mahalam did a nice job of staying out of the middle of the plate, but as the game went on, the Cubs put together better and better at-bats and really busted out there in that 8th inning. That was good to see.
Great work by our entire crew today, led by Bob Albrecht, Dave Turner, and Tamara Anderson. Cubs win. That'll do it for our game coverage, but stay tuned for the Coors Light post-game live. Final score today, Cubs 5, the Pirates 3. We're back with you here on Comcast Sportsnet Monday at 1 from Wrigley Field as the Cubs welcome in the Arizona Diamondbacks. In-game scoring provided by ScorePad. And now for Bob Brenly, Luke Stuckmeyer, and our entire crew, this is Len Casper sending it over to Cap and Todd in our Comcast Sportsnet studios.